My name is Joseph Mekovich, and I'm the principal conductor and music director for Kentucky Opera. And here we are at our home, the Brown Theater. Such an intimate, wonderful space to present our very first show of the 2011-2012 Brown-Forman season. Our first show being Georges Bizet's Carmen. And this theater itself is not unlike where Carmen was first performed, at the Opéra Comique. The Opéra Comique in Paris only has 800 seats. Here at the Brown we have 1,300, so this is actually a little bigger. Here you're on top of the action, on top of the singer-actors, on top of everything that's happening on stage, and it's such a visceral experience, the way Carmen was meant to be seen, the way opera was actually meant to be seen. Carmen is an iconic warhorse of an opera, loved by so many people across the world for its story and of course of its beautiful music. It's very difficult for opera companies at times to even produce Carmen because the piece has so many different layers. There are two different options. There is the original, which Georges Bizet composed himself, which has music and then spoken dialogue, which we'll be doing here at Kentucky Opera. And then there's another traditional aspect to Carmen, which has sung recitative, where in between the musical numbers, which we all know so very well, we then have sung recitative in that. We are for sure going to do the spoken dialogue. But Bizet died very, very young, just like Schubert, just like Herr Mozart did. And he didn't have much time to actually re-look at or rework Carmen. So as an opera company, producing this show is quite cumbersome and actually very fun. And we have a wonderful stage director, which we've been collaborating with, Christine McIntyre, on that very fact. And how are we going to tell the story of Carmen? We've seen Carmen, many of you have, with all the bells and whistles, but we, in this intimate setting of the Brown, have the real fortunate aspect of looking at Carmen for its visceral and gritty love story, the jealousy that's attributed to these two characters. And it's going to be quite an extraordinary event, a through-composed moment of drama that exhibits both Carmen and Don José and this wonderful tragedy that we all love, the basic, wonderful aspects of opera. Carmen is an opera of realism, or verismo, that Italian word that we introduced you to last season with our production of Cavalleria Rusticana and I Pagliacci, the quintessential verismo opera. But Carmen actually was the first realism on stage, telling the story not of classical and biblical figures and ancient stories, but of common people, of working class people, of soldiers, of gypsies, of toreadors, cigarette girls. It's the realism that is now hitting the stage, that is coming across all over Europe and being a very major influence in opera at this time. The music, Georges Bizet, is quintessentially French. The story itself takes place in Spain, in Seville, and Bizet has the rapturous rhythms that gets your toe tapping and the wonderful tunes. As a French composer and having studied with Gounod and his parents actually being singers themselves, Georges Bizet has such a wonderful affinity for the voice and setting the text to the music. And you have these wonderful French lines, which we call égalité, that last forever and really encompasses the mood and setting of Georges Bizet's Carmen. We've established two wonderful principals that are going to lead this production. In the role of Don José is Mr. Scott Piper, and Scott has sung the role of Don José all over the world, and singing the signature role of Carmen is Miss Tara Vendetti, and she too has a very well-established career in Europe. And these are two wonderful singer-actors who are committed to not just the beauty of the voice, not just the athleticism of the voice, but to the true essence of the drama that is this wonderful piece of Carmen. Tchaikovsky saw this piece, and after seeing, he said, Carmen is going to be the most famous opera. And we definitely know that today, that it's beloved by so many. And we're so fortunate to see this gritty drama here at the Jewel Box, the Brown Theater, Kentucky Opera's home.